This 2 billion coin weapon can completely crash the server. This talisman costs over a billion coins, and this 3 billion coin axe is literally pointless. In this video, I'm gonna be covering some expensive but useless items that you should not be using. First, let's talk about some overpriced pets. And the first pet we've got is the Leg Phoenix pet that costs over 90 million coins. And literally nobody uses it. So why does it cost that much? Well, cause it has a 1 in 30 million chance of dropping. For the record, that's the chance you'll get struck by lightning. Times 2000. Now let's look at its abilities. With Rekindle, you can cheat death and get a whole 30 strength.
Wow!
But there are much better ways to not die, like you can use Spirit and Bonzo masks that are way cheaper. And if you really want the ability, you can just use the epic version that costs a lot less. The next ability gives you some extra damage over time based on your crit damage, and it's actually garbage, as even with the max possible crit damage of 2640, you don't even deal 40k damage per second. For the next two abilities, you can literally use a booster cookie, but if you're broke, you can just use shrooms. You can use the mystical mushroom soup to fly.
But what about the coin saving thing?
Well, but if you're broke, exactly. The Sub-Zero Wisp is one of, if not the most expensive pet in the game, costing over 1 billion coins. And what do you get for that 1 billion coins? Well, you can now break Blaze Slayer fire pillars. These things. You get extra defense and combat XP against blazes. You also get extra healing while battling in the Crimson Isles, which is again decent for Blaze Slayer and Kudra. And finally, you get 40% more mana regen that is only used for one thing and one thing alone, Infernal Kudra. So the main use this should have is for Blaze Slayer, right? No, because most players don't even use this pet during the boss fight. They only use it to spawn the boss, because the best defense is blind offense, or how the Japanese say it. And you literally get almost all the necessary perks from the Frost Wisp that literally costs nothing compared to the others. But let's just say you want a better setup for Blaze Slayer, then just use a Glacial Wisp, as it costs over 10 times less coins and gives you a bunch of extra healing. And if you wanna be a real pro like me, just use a Golden Dragon. The other useless pet we've got is the Giraffe that probably has the weirdest ability set ever, with things like plus 25% dodge chance, which would literally be broken if it could stack. Then there's the higher ground ability that's literally worthless unless they add a different island or buff it somehow. And the best one among them, Good Heart, that gives 25 hearts per second. Next, we've got the rarest and most expensive items in the game. First, we've got the Enrager that, well, enrages mobs. And since they are angry at you, they deal less damage? Seems legit. Now, why is this useless? Well, firstly, because it costs almost 3 billion coins. Why? Well, it has a 1 in 300,000 chance of dropping from the highest Kudra tier. You can get it from lower Kudra tiers, but the drop chance is even smaller. Next is the fact that the ability isn't really that good. You want to make mobs in a 10 block radius mad at you? Just use Jingle Bells, which is way cheaper. But wait, you get 10% damage reduction that you can't get by using Jingle Bells, meaning I think it has some potential. And the buff ran out. Yeah, if you get it, just sell it to a dumb billionaire or something, unless you are the dumb billionaire. Next up, we've got the Valkyrie, which is one of the 4 Wither Blades in the game, and most of them are absolutely OP. So why is this on the list? Well, because melee burst with Valk is absolutely horrible. The main reason people used to use the Valk was because it gave a bunch of ferocity, but these days high ferocity doesn't even matter because it's capped. And even if it wasn't capped, it literally doesn't work inside of dungeons. Basically, during the last burst patch, they added range to burst, but that change completely stopped ferocity from triggering when meleeing, meaning the Valk is completely pointless. But maybe they'll fix the issues and bring back crack the Valk Ferocity meta. Well, they can't, cause this meta completely destroys dungeons. Literally. I recently found this vid by Zebris and Sanplo. As you can see, this guy literally crashed the server using his Valk. And server crash equals to dupe method. So yeah, Valk bad, hype good. The next item we've got is the Wizard Wand that basically does nothing. It's not super expensive like the other items on the list, but it's still kinda a waste of money. Basically, the Wizard Wand can be bought from Shen's auction house and gains plus 10 intelligence every 3 to 5 business days. No, literally. It disappears and reappears with 10 extra intelligence, which is completely useless as it doesn't have any other ability, and the bonus is probably capped. Next, we've got some talismans that are way too expensive for their worth, like the huge money artifact that can be bought from the darker auctions when Scorpius is mayor and gives twice the MP buff. Like a typical mythic talisman gives 22 MP, but the hegemony artifact gives 44, which is quite decent, but that's only if you ignore the price. On the auction house, it typically goes for around 600 million coins, which is a lot. Like you can literally get a max trackpad or recomp almost 70% of your talismans for that amount, which is a much more significant investment. Like you literally lose slightly more than 40 extra intelligence with Bazaar if you get all the talismans except for the hegemony artifact. But maybe once you're a hyper endgame player and have all the upgrades, then yeah, getting this may not be a completely dumb decision. Next, we've got the artifact of control that can be bought from Shen's auction house and at the moment sells on the AH for over 1.6 billion coins. Now it's not cheap, meaning it has a really OP ability or perk, right? Nope. It gives you 2x voting for mayors, which is literally worthless. You could literally sell those coins and buy an alt for that much. No, I don't condone selling Skyblock coins for idle money as it is bannable, so please don't do that. So you'd be spending over 1.6 billion coins for probably less than 20 intelligence with Bazaar, and you know an item is overpriced when even the hegemony artifact looks like a good deal. Also, please sub because I'm trying to hit 30k before 2024. At 20k, I'll be hosting an event where you can win prizes like a giant sword, and at 30k I'll give away more than 500 million coins. So please sub to the channel if you like my content and want to win some coins. If you're